We weren't playing good last year. We played terribly at Denver. We played terribly at home against Bentley. We're playing good right now. We're making some mistakes, some key moments that are prohibiting us from beating really good teams. We've played Michigan, BC, Lowell, and both our Anchorage teams are good. I think the combined record of our opponents is like 18-4 or something like that. So we're playing real well for most of the game. And because we're not all the way there yet in our belief or in our execution, we're making some mistakes and some big moments. So for me, I don't feel it the same at all. I like our group a lot. We have to have some things cleaned up, and we're working on those things. But I really this is going to be a really good team. And it's just a matter of whether we're a really good team starting in January, or we start being a really good team, in November sometime. I want it to be Friday, but it's a process, and we're sticking to that process, and I know that we got a heck of a team in there. It's just a matter of when we all the way get there.
Have the guys expressed any frustration over the mistakes that have cost them several games?
Yeah, but we're trying not to give into that frustration, right? The two things you control are your efforts and your attitude. And when you start being consumed by other things, that's when you start struggling. Whether that's your record, your stat line individually, the line you're on, your playing time, your power play time, whatever that is, right? Or what happened in the last shift. Mm-hmm. Those things are things that get you distracted from how you need to play and how we need to play. If we can just keep our focus on our relentless competitiveness and our effort, and a real passionate, family-oriented attitude, we'll be just fine.
Compare talk to the disparity of the Union game here and the Mayor's Cup game at the TU Center.
I think in rivalry games, weird things happen, and I think we've seen it all in this rivalry, right? And that's what makes it special. There's such an emotional high playing in these series. This is special. I played at Ferris State, coached at Denver. I've never had a rivalry. I've never been part of a rivalry like this. As good as Denver and CC was, and Denver and North Dakota, it was never this. And it's a real privilege to be part of it. But because the emotions can be high, weird things can happen. Late goals, overtime goals with no time on the clock, more penalties than you're used to taking for one team or the other, brawls, and then also sometimes blowouts too, because when the team starts pulling away from the other, your emotion's so high, and then it can be quite a drop. So nothing surprises me in this series, and you just have to keep an even keel, approach it the right way, and control what we control.
How much did sweeping that league series last year, first time in a long time that happened, how much confidence did this give this team, knowing that they can do that to you?
Yeah, I think we played a lot of real good games against them. I think sometimes we forget, between 2009 and 2014. Both of these programs and teams spent huge chunks, if not all of that time for them, in the top 15 or 20 in the country, and Union in the top 5 or 10. And so I think there's a lot of times we play great games against them, and they snuck out a win. Bodie and Gostisbehere and a few of those guys, they have it pretty special. But I think what was good last year for us is that we backed up the win by going there and winning, and that's been hard for us to do in league play over there. So, but that has no bearing on this game. It just doesn't. I know the media likes to say it does, and I know they talk about those things and ask those questions, but that doesn't have bearing on this game. The game on Friday and the game on Saturday will be dictated by which team can stay the most resilient in the face of the emotional roller coaster of this series, and which team can stay the most focused on the things that they value and doing those things shift after shift.